Hello everyone, Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and it's election day. We're getting down to the wire. Across the country, there are some major races going down. New Jersey, Virginia, school boards across the country. This is actually probably one of the most important elections across the country, or the school board elections, because we are coming down to the idea that schools are in charge of children, or the parents are in charge of their children. So this is a very, very important idea that is being waged in a battle of control over what our children are being taught, and basically if they're going to be educated or indoctrinated. So school board elections are very, very important. I want to make sure that people do their research, talk to their neighbors, find out what the issues are per each of the individual candidates that are running for school board. Try to find out if they support parental choice, or they want to see teacher indoctrination of children across the country. Also, just think about it. School boards across the country are denouncing the National School Board Association because of these toxic topics they're trying to instill into children. The idea of public education in this country is a very, very simple idea. It comes down to a free, appropriate public education. It wasn't supposed to be just, what the state decides that you are supposed to know. It was supposed to be an appropriate level of knowledge to children per their age group. And we're seeing currently in school boards across the country that they are putting in explicitly sexual activities into curriculum, that they are trying to tell boys that they are girls, and that telling girls that they probably are boys. They are getting in the way of the family's position in determining some of the morals within our society. And this is not what the school boards and schools and educators are supposed to be doing. An educator is supposed to be doing a couple of very, very simple things. The objective facts of historical note, talking about the good and the bad. Both of them are equally important, and to be as successful as society, we need to understand the bad things from our history so we know not to repeat them. However, we need to also say that just because bad things happen in our history doesn't make us an intrinsically evil nation, nor any nation for that matter. There is no country on this planet, nor has there ever been one, that was completely without fault. The idea, though, is that certain countries will allow their citizens and the people who live among their citizenry to be better people. And those who only seek out to destroy and to diminish society are reevaluated. They are, put into facilities like jails to rehabilitate them to be functioning positive contributors to society. That's what punitive punishment is. It's not so much just to lock people away without a key. It is supposed to be able to help people become better citizens. We have to have law and order. We have to have mayors and governors that are going to support law enforcement, because if you're not going to punish someone who burns down bodegas and shoots women through the eye visual holes in their doors in their apartments, or track women down and try to break into their apartments, if you're not going to punish people who violently assault people on public transportation, if you're not going to punish people who are robbing and stealing people's cars, if you're not going to punish people who are breaking and entering and stealing people's hard-earned valuables, then you're losing the cohesiveness that we are all in this together, because it makes everyone out for themselves. That's why we need to be able to have city council members and educators and mayors that value the rule of law and that the rules that we have. As far as education is concerned, you really need to make sure that whoever's running for your school board wants to see parental control, who wants to see that you as a parent are going to be able to determine what is appropriate and inappropriate for your child. If someone wants to teach their children something extra beyond what that societal appropriate level is, that's on that family's decision making. As long as that child is not physically being injured or subjected to harm, that's something that we may look at for individual parents. But trying to take away parents' rights and notification of actions taken by minors is a recipe for disaster. Minors aren't allowed to do certain things for a specific reason. The frontal lobe of their brains, the cerebral cortex, during the cephalization process, is not fully developed yet. It takes time for these things to develop. That's why alcohol is not legal to be consumed by people under the age of 21. It's also the reason why people under the age of 18 aren't allowed to enter into valid contracts. We have these societal rules for minors because of specific reasons in their development. They are prone to impromptu behavior, which can become reckless and dangerous to themselves and others. That's a reason why we have these limitations on people based on age. I want you, if we have it for these things, why not everything else? We can't just push these things because it makes us feel better about ourselves, when they are actually causing significant harm to our children and society as a whole. As far as the mayors are concerned, any mayor who says they wanted to defund and eliminate the police department is not looking out for your best interest. If you want to see someone who's going to clean up your streets, protect you and your family, so you can be able to do those community activities. Those community activities are what makes a community whole. It's what gives you a sense of belonging, that the belonging, each individual and family unit will become more and more isolated. As we've seen with the past 24 months with the COVID lockdowns, that isolation is a detriment to young people's lives. Suicide rates have skyrocketed because of isolation. If we are forced to isolate, not only because of COVID, but because of criminal behavior, the isolation and the mental aspects of that are going to be detrimental to everyone, not just the children. And I hope people realize that when they go out and vote. There's still a lot of time to go out and vote today. Most polls don't close until 9, as long as you get in, some of them like earlier at 7, but as long as you're in line between 7 and whenever the polls close, you will be able to vote. I know a lot of people are at work still and they haven't had a chance to go vote. They vote after work. I know you have, meals to cook at home and you have things to do. Pick up the kids and all go to the voting place today. They might not be able to vote because they're under 18, but they can see you taking part of the process. They can be part of this societal thing by going with their parents to do the voting. Make takeout tonight. Everyone go order pizza or your favorite fast food restaurants. Leave the cooking to someone else today because it's too important to miss this voting election day, because this is where America is going to have a very, very differential turn since the riots and the COVID lockdowns. This is a distinct point in American history where we will decide where we are going as a country, as a nation, and as a people. So I encourage you to go out and vote. I encourage you to vote for candidates that are going to protect the police, that are going to ensure that the people who are going to protect you are protected, to ensure that people have the ability to make their own healthcare decisions based on what's only their body and their body only. I want you to make sure that the people that are going to be in charge of your children's education care about your beliefs and that your child's mental well-being, and want to make sure that a family has the ability to make decisions best for their child's education, not some bureaucracy somewhere far off. These are some very basic things that come down to what the core of what America is: individual liberty and the ability to be able to, wherever you start off in life, for you to be able to move forward in a successful manner. We might not all have the same outcomes, but we all have the same potential to take where our starting points are and to move forward, to grow as a person. And that's the greatest thing about America, and that's what I want to see preserved here. And this election is one of the very first steps in correcting this really horrible time in our history with all the lockdowns and the rampant crime and inflation. So honestly, if you're on the fence about voting Republican or Democrat and you have specific issues that you think only Democrats care about, understand this, that in many of these areas that you're voting in, Democrats have been in charge for a very, very long time. None of those issues have ever been corrected. So if the Democrats really did care about those issues, maybe they would have fixed them by now. My name is Nathaniel Gavronsky, and I'm really encouraging you to go vote. I want you to vote for the Republicans because I want to see a strong country. We all deserve to live in a strong country that will offer us protection and place for us to grow as a person, as a family, and to find our purposes in life. Thank you very much. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and as always, stay wise, America.